Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of our weekly AMAs. If someone in the Telegram chat could give us a wave, or if anyone else can hear us and confirm that we are in fact live, then we can proceed. Is the Telegram chat live, John, as well? Oh, okay, yeah, it appears to be live. Yeah, I'm just going to proceed then. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us again today. We have some interesting updates for you guys today ahead of our team meetup in Lisbon next week. We haven't actually decided exactly what will happen with regards to the AMA next week, because we are actually planning on possibly having a team and community lunch, maybe on the Wednesday of next week, probably on the Wednesday. That's the day that we're targeting. We'll also have, for any other attendees of the Web Summit, a list of events that we're most interested in attending with regards to things that are most similar or relevant to what's going on with Cherry at the moment. So we'll publish that informal timetable of sorts so that anybody who is in attendance can come along and possibly chat to us at those events as well. And finally, we're also looking into, we've had a few requests from some interesting projects and possible collaborators for members of the senior team to participate in some of their events that they've organized as well. So we'll keep you posted as soon as we've confirmation that we'll be actually speaking on any of the panels or in any of the roundtable discussions. Then we'll let you guys know. And if you can come along, or if you're in Lisbon for whatever reason, then please, come along and say hello to us. We'd be more than happy to say hello to you guys in person once again. As for today and the AMA, the agenda will go as follows. Herman is going to jump in and give a pretty, I don't think he has that much to share with us today, but he's going to give us a brief update from his perspective. Then I'll proceed with some more business related things. I don't have that much to share either, but some things indeed. And then we'll move to Marvin, who will give us a kind of a checkup on what's going on with Cherish. Diego has some things to share with us about Seedling, and then we'll proceed to the quiz. I think that there's one or maybe two people who haven't been rewarded for previous quiz victories. So those people I think I've been in touch with today. Otherwise, everybody is up to speed. All the winners have been rewarded accordingly to date, I believe. And then with regards to the winners of today's quiz, I'll get in touch with you later on today or tomorrow, and we'll try and get you your rewards as quick as possible. So I'm going to leave that there for now. And if Herman is ready at the moment, he's going to jump in and give us a bit of an update as to what's going on with him.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. As Owen mentioned, I don't have anything important to say. So I do have a bunch of small, unimportant things that I think you'd anyway be interested in. So I'll start off by saying that, well, reiterating what Owen said, if you do want to come meet the team, we will be in Web Summit next week. That'll be a great opportunity both to reach existing community members, if you do want to come along, and meet new people, interact as a team live, which hasn't been common during these COVID times, and make new relationships, expand the ecosystem, and so forth. I do have some core updates. The indexer, for those of you who follow the GitHub, has been tagged pretty much complete. We plan to get a programmatic interface online shortly. And after that, the UI, as always, takes a bit more time, but you can expect that within a short order. In the meanwhile, if you want to start exploring the blockchain in index fashion, unlike what you can see in the trade-up place currently, you'll be able to do that by command line or simply, pasting API links on your browser. EVM proceeds. Nothing of great importance there. We revise a timeline. I don't have any further comments about that other than those that I shared the previous AMAs. So I'll keep that at that. Keep it at that. Ecosystem-wise, you've heard from Lewis the past two AMAs. He's a representative of Original Factory. They plan to perform a soft launch. This means an unadvertised, unpromoted launch of their product, which essentially is a collective of artists who, in various sorts, perform, publish, create digital art. That's all quite handsome. I personally like it. I think the artistic application of Cherry has been core to our vision from early on. We love Cherish. We do have some news about Cherish too, but Original Factory will perform this soft launch next week, and it's actually scheduled pretty early in the week. So I look forward to that. Memento, some of you have heard of Memento. Memento is a simple Web3 application that allows anyone to upload, let's say, memories, but it can also be any other image, memorialize them on the Cherry Network blockchain in the form of our own version of the NFT, which is called, I forget what it's called, but you can read in our documentation the nomenclature of our NFT assets, and essentially save that memory. I find this application quite neat. It was done some time ago. They said there's no better time to launch it than now, so they're just going to go ahead. I think we can look forward to that probably in the next 2 weeks. Last update about Cherish. Marvin will tell you more, but development actually proceeds very well. We have completed the unplanned, but whatever it happened, the backend upgrade. This includes all the various logic modifications that I mentioned maybe a month ago or so, simply to adapt Cherish to a more conventional landscape. We see Cherish as a very effective platform beyond the Web3 space, and therefore it does need to comply to certain standards, such as moderation and image processing, so for better deliverability of media. That had to be done. It's now done. As I mentioned earlier, we do have certain difficulties with UI, as the team is certainly a bit more, more interested in the hairy bits of technology. But nonetheless, it's still going on and proceeding quite swiftly. I think the plan of release is now that we will display a quite basic but still pretty version of Cherish and fully functional, with some interaction and the ability to post. The artist section will be completely redone, I think, starting tomorrow. That's something I'm looking forward to. And we will provide, given the nature of the media, which is, the point is to allow the artist and grant the artist greater ownership of their page. They do need more administrative powers over their page and how to style it, how to organize, and how to interact with their viewership. And so all that is, as I said, done functionally, but does need to be organized better in a ad hoc admin panel, and that's scheduled to start tomorrow. We don't expect it to take that long, but still the platform is, as I mentioned, functional and will be functional in this sort of pre-release that we'll reserve for you guys. over the next few weeks. And then probably in the order of a few more weeks, perhaps 2 or 3 months, we can finally get to the great launch that I think we'll keep any detail about that secrets for now. So with that, that's all. Thank you for listening. As always, if you have any questions, do keep in mind that I'm available in chat. You can also ask them there. And thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Herman. I have a question here for you. If you're not able to take it now, then maybe we could answer it later in the chat. But one of the questions that someone asked me directly was, how many people roughly are involved as serious contributors to the Cherry project at the moment, not including ecosystem projects, I suppose. And in the next medium-term future, over the next year, they said, what did they ask? Oh yeah, what's the breakdown of expansion in terms of how many devs versus non-technical people will be involved in our next rounds of hiring? So will we be hiring more devs relatively in future or fewer? Yeah, that kind of question was one.
I'll answer in inverse order. Cherry Labs, which is the more active business side of our firm, of our enterprise, is a venture studio. We do have a business component, but we're very transparent with our portfolio companies, with people who approach us. While we don't have the greatest financial expertise, we're not, long-standing private equity people. We do have great technical knowledge, so we simply double down on that. We own this lacking in some cases, but frankly, great assets, and just say that partner with us. Give us a share of your company. We'll invest in you, but in turn, you'll get access, and not just access, but the time itself of our fantastic technical team. And with that, I'll say that we do have a few, but the vast majority of staff in Cherry Labs specifically will continue to be technical. This, of course, may change, but this is the short-term goal. In Cherry Network, it's a bit more different. I'll just add a few things. In Cherry Network, it's a bit more different. We do have other components of Cherry Network, which do require some business components, marketing, etc. Cherry Network is an open source project first, but it's also an open source community, and we do need people to attract and maintain these community relationships. And of course, this is sort of soft skill that we do hire. That proportion is a bit more obvious. Of course, we do focus more on maintaining the technology, so we do still have more engineers than others, but these others take a more prevalent role than they do in, for example, Cherry Labs. As far as future hiring, as far as existing team, in open source efforts, it's a bit complicated because we've seen, I think, more than 50 come and go over the past 2 years. And that's been a pleasure. It may unsettle some. I find it very pleasant to see teams expand and contract in relation to, let's say, interest first, but also the various projects we undertake. The EVM in particular, since the introduction of relay chain and EVM compatibility, has seen an uptick of contributors. I won't disclose numbers as it hasn't really been the policy. We did give general indications that we would and do collaborate with over 50 ecosystem projects. That number has expanded since. We are now getting up into the mid 60s, some of which actually also include very, very large undertakings. Some of, one I mentioned a few AMAs ago with this large music industry firm. Another one that had been planned many, many months ago, but has since fallen through. So again, converting all these numbers to how many engineers are actually working on that, it's a bit out of my reach and outside of the scope of this conversation. But with that, I think it gives you an understanding of where we're going and how we understand the assets of Cherry Labs and Cherry Network, which namely are technical, as I said, but there's great value in that. And you know, of course, this may change. We may be proven wrong, but I've seen no indication that this strategy is something that we should revise.
Thanks, Herman. That's great. So I actually got another question with regards to that type of thing, but I think it's probably going to be covered by what I'm going to go over now in a moment. So thanks, Herman. That's great. Thanks very much for your help and your update, as always. Much appreciated. With regards to my update, I'm just going to grab my notes here. Bear with me. So yeah, someone asked with regards to what we were talking about last week in terms of what Cherry Labs will have to do in the future. What does that involve? And briefly, it involves especially opening up and standardizing how we interact with other projects that want to collaborate with Cherry Labs in whatever guise that might take, whether it's, you know, partnership, investment, acquisition, or the likes. We have to make this more structured and make it more predictable from the perspective of people outside and inside the organization. So this is something that we're kind of working on. As well, it is quite relevant to do so, given the fact that we're going to things like Web Summit from next week, and there'll be more intensive contact with other projects outside the ecosystem as things like EVM and IPFS integration are unveiled. So that's one of our targets at the moment. And we just have to kind of build out, although Herman said quite correctly that the core competence of Cherry and Cherry Labs is a technical competence and a set of technical competences. We still need to have the business and management structures in place so that can all be allocated and marshaled effectively as the Cherry network expands. There is a market dimension to this in that as the markets start to become more buoyant in future, you'll start to see an increased degree of energy and momentum in the whole crypto ecosystem and outside the crypto ecosystem in the wider tech market. And we have to be ready for that so that we can really push forward and expand Cherry Labs as a proficient and expansive venture studio that would hopefully continue to be a real asset to the Cherry network and Cherry ecosystem itself. So that is part of what I mentioned in terms of the second point there. On the slide deck we have, or the notes list, the preparations for next week's Web Summit is taking up quite a lot of our time. And then there's an unfinished note there, which I haven't actually finished. Give me 1 second now. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, what I mentioned as well with regards to Cherry Labs. Then, of course, there was the things that Herman mentioned with the ecosystem projects, which are proceeding at pace, which is great to see, and the media campaigns that we mentioned over the past couple of weeks are now we are putting pen to paper, so to speak, and getting that on show on the road. And they will be, by this time next week, you'll start to see the fruits of our labor in that regard. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much more. Herman gave us a nice brief but complete overview of what's going on in the more important core aspects of the company. So now we'll move on to one of these, which is Cherish itself. Cherish, of course, is the new media platform which promises to disintermediate all of the kind of problematic middlemen and things that really capture value away from the producers and their fans. And it's something that should be ramping up in the next couple of months anyway, with a launch on the way. And Marvin will jump in now and give us his perspective on what's going on in Cherish the past few days.
Hey, Eoghan, thank you for that introduction. And also thank you for Herman for going a bit into depth about the technical state of Cherish. As you can all notice from the things that were just said by Herman, Cherish is ramping up and the future is really looking bright for us over here. With the speed of development growing, a lot of backend stuff being complete and ready for design, we can really start looking at the launch and the impacts of Cherish. So as John is showing on the screen right about now, onboarding continues at pace with new creators signing up every day. This is the standard point for us. Every day we're working towards onboarding more creators, either big or small, and this is and connecting with them to make Cherish the platform that we all want it to be. Then Cherish Update 3 is on the way, providing insight into the decentralized nature of Cherish. And this update will really go into depth on how Cherish works, or go into depth however possible without revealing too much of what's being worked on in the background. And then on the platform development, one of the stages we're also at right now is payments, which is a very key aspect of the Cherish platform, how creators will be paid. Then there's a Cherish marketing video on the way that was being worked on for the last couple of weeks, which is looking really great. I'm really excited to push that out and show you guys what we've been working on. I think this will be well received by everyone, as it's a very sleek video. And then since we're getting closer to our launch date, the diversified marketing plan is getting more shape, and we are getting more prepared and geared up for our launch, and that should be about it for Cherish.
Thanks, Marv. We're going to move on to Diego now, and he has some good news for us with regards to Seedling and what's going on there.
Hello, guys. Yeah, today I will be giving my usual update from the Seedling side. I will follow the same structure as I have been doing these past few weeks. First, I will discuss everything regarding projects and opportunities in Seedling, and I will then move on to the next few points regarding this week. So starting with projects, as usual, the most important thing for the seedlers. Today, I'll give you guys a little advancement of what we have been working on and some exclusive information. Many of you know we have recently listed a poll on our chat talking about this unique layer 1 that, in our opinion, we believe is one of the best projects launched lately. It has huge backing from VCs like Shima Capital and top-notch players such as GSR, which is not only doing their market making and therefore ensuring a correct development and management of the liquidity, but also investing in this project. Also, they have huge advisors such as Jida Dao from Shima himself, who wanted to not only invest, but take part and advise in the development of this layer 1. And also there is a top tier advisor / influencer, I'd say, which I can't reveal, in very advanced negotiations actually, and seems like they are getting along very well. After a few calls with the founders and establishing a great relationship with them, they have decided to allow us a ticket in their most privileged round, the seed round. Again, Seedling community getting in what seems a very interesting opportunity for you guys to analyze. Following last project success, I do suggest, however, if you want to invest, to make a note on your calendar when we announce this one, which will be very soon, and get in soon enough. I know some people will be asking later on to try and contribute, and it won't be available. So yeah, just make sure you do the correct diligence and are aware of the timeline for the launch. So moving on from the exciting, let's say, project section, I would like to remember every seedler, we're going to distribute our monthly newsletter next week, following the same systematic timeline every month as we did last month. I do recommend people that actually might not have too much time to sign up for this newsletter on Medium, as we will deliver just a very easy reading, recapping the whole month's work from the Seedling team in just a page of text. The third point is also very relevant for you guys. We're in the process of discussing some very interesting partnerships and have set up some intelligent, I'd say, deal flows. I think networking in Seedling is working great. The way we are establishing contacts and deal flows, as I have been saying months back in the AMAs, is definitely giving and showing some positive effect now. As you can see, projects are coming up. Good quality projects actually are coming up on the platform, and the growth we are having in this regard is great. And the fourth point, and very key for any crypto project, community. We're exploring ways to bring community closer and more engaged with us, more than just on a contribution to early stage project basis. We are pretty advanced in our brand repositioning, and we'll start to actually externalize it soon. Show it to the community soon. And then the next steps following this should also help in this regard. And just finally, by the end of this week, before the team is meeting at Lisbon, we will upload some walkthrough tutorials, as mentioned last week, explaining the investment methodology. We have studied the best form for this, and we think we'll post them on the DAO, following a step-by-step process with pictures for everyone to simply follow the steps and not get lost. Thank you, guys, and definitely happy to meet all community members in Lisbon if they are coming. Whoever is coming, we will probably have some cool stuff to share with you guys, and even maybe have some freebies. So yeah, guys, see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Diego. Interesting as always. I'll now just review to see if there's been any questions of note in the chat. Ortegita asked about the timeline of Cherish being released, but we'll see probably within the next couple of weeks exactly when things are shaping up, and we'll hopefully have a better idea of the time frame that you can expect Cherish to be launched within. So please bear with us in that regard. And thanks for the question as always, Ortegita. I think now we might as well move forward with something that a lot of people I'm sure are waiting for, which is the quiz. And we have some quiz questions prepared. As I said before, we've had the previous quiz winners have all been contacted, and all except one or two have been paid. And I'm hoping that later today or tomorrow we'll be able to address the latest three winners, which will come from today. So John is going to close down the chat, and we're going to ask the questions. In the meantime, I think we're going to have a more intensive kind of communications set up with you guys over the next few days in preparation for us going to Portugal. I'm going to try and release some info as to what the kind of things that we're going to be attending next week. We've got some interesting content to release as well, and we'll give you an idea of what you can expect from us next week in general, including whether we'll be having the AMA. We might have the AMA much earlier next week, or we might not have it at all. Maybe we'll leave it till later on in the week. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll try and keep you guys posted as soon as possible. So John's going to post the questions now. Thank you all for joining, and I'll speak to you over the next couple of days, and best of luck with the quiz, guys, as always.